Hello everybody. In this video I'm going to show you how to get started with our hypothesis annotation tool. So you'll notice in your schedule of activities that it tells you to look at some of the readings that are on the schedule and in the module and annotate them using hypothesis. I asked y'all to sign up for that during the first week as part of the bootcamp activities. So we're going to get started with it here in this video. You'll see that there's a news announcement that talks to you a little bit about a couple more things you got to do to get set up. One of them is to add the Chrome extension to your browser, and there's a link to that right here. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to add that Chrome extension to my browser. Remember, this only works in Chrome because Chrome allows for extensions. So if you're using Safari or Firefox, you'll just have to plan to use Chrome for this particular activity. All right, it gives you instructions on how to access the Chrome Web Store and then add it to your Chrome browser. I'm going to click Add Extension here. It's up there in my extensions now, and then it gives me instructions on what to do from here. I'm just going to click on, and move this up here a little bit. I'm going to click on the extension, and then I'm going to sign in with that login that I created during week 1. Okay, now that I'm logged in, I've got to join a group so that we can see each other's annotations. If I go back to that news announcement, there's also a link to join the group for the particular course that you are enrolled in. So I'm just going to click on that to join the group, and then you'll be in the group and ready to start your annotations. From there, what you want to do is go up to your extensions, make sure that you pin hypothesis so that it appears up there at the top every time. You don't have to go searching for it. And then from there, you should be able to use hypothesis on basically any page on the web that works with the tool. So to do your annotation assignment for the first week or the first full week, the second week of class, go to Course Tools and Content. And then we're going to find our first content module under Learning Content and Unit 1. And remember, this is what it also says in the schedule of activities. If you're having trouble finding anything, it's labeled this way. So our 4 main modules for the course are going to be under this main learning content module. So from here, be sure to check for the content modules under learning content, and they'll be labeled Unit 1, 2, 3, and 4 as they're labeled in the schedule of activities as well. So whenever it says to annotate something in hypothesis, now I'll explain this a little bit more in the Unit 1 overview video. You might have to read other things like things out of the textbook. I'm not going to make that a participation or graded activity for the textbook readings. When you annotate those, you can annotate them in hypothesis. There's annotation tools when you sign in to the textbook as well. Just do whatever works for you when it comes to the textbook annotations. I'm not going to check those for a grade, but it is important to read that and annotate so that you remember key concepts, so that you can ask any questions if you have any questions about the textbook material, etc. But what I'm really interested in hearing and seeing your thoughts about is the supplemental readings. So for example, we've got this one here, the very first one, previously on how recaps change the way we watch television. Now to begin doing my annotations, in chapter 1 of your textbook, if you're not sure what I'm talking about when I keep saying annotate this, annotate that, look at chapter 1 of your textbook. It gives you lots of strategies and tips for annotating and critical reading. So what I'm talking about here is as you read something, you want to react to it. You want to ask questions. You want to react positively or negatively, things you agree with or things you disagree with. So basically interact or have a conversation with the text. Chapter 1 gives lots of advice and lots of good tips for helping you get started with that. But basically it's a conversation or an interaction that you have with the thing that you're reading, highlighting important terms, asking questions, reacting to things in the margins, and then we're going to use this hypothesis social annotation tool to do that as a class. So you may have done discussions in previous online courses where, okay, read this, answer these questions about this. I don't want to really do that anymore. I feel like that's getting a little old, stale, and boring. So we're going to do this as something a little bit different. It does the same thing, right? You're reading something, and as a class, we're reacting to it. We're discussing it. We're just in a little bit of a different way than doing it in a discussion forum. So refer to chapter 1 for lots of good tips on how to annotate and interact with the text, and follow those tips as you go throughout this and annotate this article. Now, getting to the practical question of how do you do that, if you go up here to hypothesis, See, once I clicked on it here, I see a little thing here in the corner. And if I pull out this tab right here, there's my hypothesis annotations. If I go up here to this upper left-hand corner, I can choose which class or which group I want to annotate for. So be sure to choose that, because nobody else is going to be able to see your annotations if it's public. You want to make sure to go to one of these groups that you joined, the one group that you joined for your section or for your course. Now, I started y'all off by putting in some questions. So if you kind of scroll through this, you'll see some things that are highlighted. And if you click on it, you'll see the question that I had or the comment that I had about that particular highlight. Now, to go through and do this yourself, and keep in mind, I don't just want you to respond to things that I highlighted. This is just to get you started. I only highlighted a few things at the very beginning to get you started and to kind of show y'all, what we're doing here. But there's a lot more stuff in there that you can highlight, that you can react to, that you can ask questions about, and that kind of thing. So please, I really encourage you to do that. I'm going to try to post some additional guidelines in the module as you go through and annotate these for basically, how to get a good grade, how to get an A. For now, also look at that document that says how to get an A in the discussions. That's in the Start Here module. I'm probably going to update that one with some more advice on annotating using hypothesis specifically, but a lot of the same advice from that applies. The whole idea here is to just engage with the reading and engage with your classmates. A passing grade, it's a pass-fail thing. A passing grade is you tried. You showed that you read it. You showed that you tried to interact with the reading and with the rest of the class. So here's a few things to kind of get you started. So I highlighted that. There's another question here about the golden age of television. So there's a few things there to get you started on what I mean by this, but I want y'all to go through and highlight and mark this up a lot more substantially, okay? And I'll be in there looking at your highlights and your annotations and kind of jumping in there and talking with y'all throughout the week. So to do this, if I wanted to highlight this, for example, as long as the hypothesis extension is running, it'll come up with this thing that says either annotate or highlight. So I'm going to say annotate here. It's going to automatically highlight it. And I'm going to put in my question, my comment, whatever. There's also tools up here that are similar to the text box in D2L. I can add a link. I can add an image. I can do all kinds of stuff to my text, and I encourage y'all to do that too. There's one question where I say, these days people react to things they see on TV with memes. What are some of your favorite TV and movie memes? Feel free to post links. So that's a good way to kind of jazz this up with some multimedia content as well. So I encourage all of y'all to participate in those ways too. So hopefully this is a good overview of hypothesis, why we're using it, and how you're going to use it. If you have any questions or problems, please email me about it. So I wanted to get y'all started on this early so that if you have any questions or run into any problems, we can kind of address them as soon as possible. But I really look forward to seeing your reactions to this first reading, and good luck over the next week on your first hypothesis annotation assignment.